everybody.
Hi, yeah, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome, Jen. Good to see you again.
You too, Greg.
How long has it been? Well, we probably talked about January, right? Is that when
Yeah.
we did a phone thing? Probably, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think it was just maybe just to nail down some dates or that, whatever, but.
Yeah.
So we really haven't seen December, January, so it's been a couple, 3 months actually live, so.
It has. Yeah. What? Edinburgh?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
November. Yeah, that was Edinburgh.
Wow, yeah. Well, that's usually our downtime anyway. Now it's always like the,
Yes.
getting ready for the real season, right?
Yes. Anticipation.
Right,
For sure.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So then we got Villisca coming up pretty soon.
Yes.
It's
Can't
one of,
wait for that. Oh my God, I'm so excited for Villisca again.
really.
Yes.
I remember you were during that last time just kind of.
I was terrified, not gonna lie, but the fact of what we caught, our evidence, was amazing, and I absolutely cannot wait to go back there. I'll be braver this time.
Yeah, I think we've definitely learned a lot along since the way, and that was what, 2, 3 years ago, probably at least 2, right? You would think.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those I was hoping Johnny would be there again,
Mm-hmm.
to where I actually could take our evidence stuff and see if he actually wanted to hear it or not, and just follow up with some questions that, that he had us do. Plus, I saw a few of his little things he was filming during the last time we were there. You remember, because what was it, the Prime Video one, right, or the Nick thing?
Yeah.
So that was kind of as strange as it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got a few questions off of that I'd like to ask him. So I don't know, maybe you had some questions too, but I'd like to take our evidence that we kind of found to see if it was interesting, because I remember it started like pretty much right away. I mean, he gave us the tour, whatever. I set up the camera. We go get our stuff from outside, and I think we talked about this before. I think it's one of those that you kind of remember not shutting the door, just kind of leaving it there, I guess. Not maybe latching it, but it was like, okay, I can kind of hear that in there.
Mm-hmm.
But then more, I heard like a rolling bottle, like somebody kicked over like maybe an old Pepsi bottle that was rolling, and I'm like, that wouldn't sound like a door, So I'm like,
No.
I'd just be curious to see what he had thought about that, Plus, my little mimic thing, to where that was coming out of the closet. That's weird, right? To say that, right? Coming out of the closet. I was, okay, yeah. You hear that?
Almost seems warmer out here. Set that down.
Sweat never released.
Yep. Yeah, that was really interesting when we were sitting in the class. And I don't think you heard it, did you? Or maybe you did and I didn't, if I'm remembering that correctly. With the footsteps?
Yeah, I did hear it at that time because I was on the inside with my ear towards the hallway, and I think you were sitting next beside me, like straight right in front of the door.
Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I shined the light, they was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was like, huh?
I heard nothing. I heard nothing from out there.
But it was like, what, later on in the morning you heard them then?
Yes.
One last time, right?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to try it one more time, and then we'll just see. And sure enough, I was like, holy cow, there it is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, fascinating.
It's definitely so. Plus, I can't remember what my original SLS camera was.
Oh,
Footage of that one that we actually showed, to where that figure came in, and I thought you were on the stairs.
that's right.
Because I don't know if I backed it up far enough, but I do have a clip now to where I back it up a little bit going into it, so it's like, you're not like, oh, did you hear that a second ago? Oh, come on.
Yeah,
To where
yeah.
you could actually hear that. So that was kind of interesting unto itself too, so I'm not. Well, ain't up there anymore, huh? Okay. Are you coming up the stairs? Okay, I just heard some on the steps. What? No. I'm standing still. And I don't even know if these people really, want to hear stuff or not. At that time, he kind of seemed like he did, but I'm not really totally for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But, I figured I would take it, and I'm like, I don't even know if he's actually going to be there too, but, what the heck.
Yeah. If he is, then, then at least we're prepared.
Right. Because, I've had some, I don't know what you would call them, dreams or visions, so hopefully I can pass along my thoughts to him about that.
Oh,
Because it does,
is this
because
recent?
not recent, well, it's been within the couple months that we've talked. So I've actually had two of them, so it's kind of weird. It actually had Martha in it too, which was strange, and I don't even know the lady, but,
Who's Martha?
Isn't she the owner now? Isn't Darwin's wife, or is that
Maybe.
Martha?
Maybe. I don't remember, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably messing it up too. I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to that, because it's one of those that I don't know if I told you that, but I did get a hold of Josh, Malvern,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like when I got from our presentation of the Hiawatha one that, they were actually ended up doing,
Yeah.
the one with Gracie's voice on it. I don't know if you remember that or not.
A little bit. Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, man, this is just like, it almost sounds like she was crying out, it's like, I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
one of those type things. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
haste.
Haste.
Well, it'd have to be intelligent.
Would have to.
Think there's something intelligent here.
I think so. You communicated with Gracie?
Good point. Wonder if she's still here. Did you talk to her?
I have not.
So I'm like, I had to pass that along to him, and it's just like one of those, and I'm like, I'm wondering if these guys even really want to hear about it.
Oh,
You know?
Probably. I would
I-
assume so.
I
hope
would,
so.
yeah, I would think so too, and it seems like, the conversation that we've had with him, he seems really interested in different things, so, I sent it to him, but then, I never heard from him again, so I'm like, did you get it, or did you?
Yeah.
So that's what then made me started thinking, well, I'm jumping all over the charts here, right?
It's all good. All usable.
Yeah, but exactly, so, because it was like I got a hold of the guy at Ashmore,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought, well, hey, if Josh wants to know, maybe this guy wants to know, and he's like, I'm a skeptic or whatever, so kind of take it with what it is, and I'm like, well, this is kind of what I found about with the twins up in that one room,
Mm-hmm.
with different, this is one camera angle, that's a different camera angle, and I heard this little girl in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think it's just kind of want some validation from, are you hearing this too, or is it just me?
Right.
And And I know, we're kind of on the same page, but I think it's like not having a presentation actually, that to where people can actually like, yeah, man, that's really cool, or some type of validation for ourselves that I thought maybe these people would. Then I never heard nothing back from him either once I set up all these clips to him and stuff like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I figure some of these people like to have their stuff to put up on their own webpage, like, look what this team, found out, or,
Yeah.
I don't even know how they do it or whatever, but
Mhm.
thought they
Yeah.
might be interested anyway, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, squirrel cage, I did get a hold of the lady at the squirrel cage,
Awesome.
and, so we'll meet with her probably like maybe an hour before
Okay.
to like go over some stuff, cause I know you had that one with the keys. Was that outside? This is kind of teeny stuff. Ding. Whatever. It sounded like it was in here though.
But it sounded like it had something to do with like the railing, like something like a chain or something.
Yeah. Like if you have a ring on, you grab it kind of a.
Yeah, that was good.
And I'm still going through stuff, so I don't know. But I've still got the SLS stuff, so there's at least something there to show them, because it sounds like, she's pretty interested in that kind of stuff, so.
Good.
I didn't know if you had any other secondary clips or whatever. I didn't know if you'd shown me all that you had, or you just had sent me like, these are the best ones or whatever.
Yeah, so far that's all I found. I think there might still be some more I need to go through yet, but I think those are probably the best ones I found so far.
Yeah, yeah. Same here, same here. So at least we have something to at least show her when we go back out there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Then as far as Edinburgh or whatever, I mean, we still haven't set any dates up for that, so.
Okay.
It seems like even like looking at her calendar, whatnot anyway, that even the time when we normally go in November is like pretty well booked.
Really, already?
Kinda, sorta.
Wow. That's a little disheartening. Good for them, but still.
Right, because I was looking at that particular Saturday that nobody ever takes, that we took last year, and it was like that was taken, and I'm like, what?
Wow, weird.
Yeah, exactly. So that was strange unto itself, and that was like also the other one, the Crown Point Jail. That's Indiana with Dillinger and that. I don't think we've never been there before, but
Right.
it's kind of south of Maryville, if you kind of know Indiana at all.
Not hugely. How close is it? What's the proximity to Indianapolis?
Wow, northwest.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
maybe 45 minutes south of Gary, maybe-ish, because it's
Okay.
like right on the line,
Okay, cool.
Illinois-Indiana line. So I figured that's an easier kind of day trip, I'd pick you up whatever, we can get there, do our thing, and
Yeah.
come back the next day or whatever, or sleep over, one of those.
Yeah, that
Type
sounds
things.
good. Really good.
So we need to find out a time on that, whatever works with you or what's looking good or whatnot. So I think they're only open till September. They have a very short window. Because
Okay.
in October they do their own little haunted Halloween type thing. So
Okay.
something to think about, and I've got vacation to use, so.
Right.
Ding!
That's
Very good.
Sweet.
And also set up with Martha for the next presentation, that would be November 6th.
Okay. For Hiawatha, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll be still in the library, or the live, actually be there in person, right? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
nice? So,
Yeah. Selling tickets and everything.
right. Don't know about a time yet, and I'm like, well, don't we usually do it at 2 or 3? And she's like, well, we've been closing at 2 these days, and I'm like, oh. But she's like, well, maybe as things progress, maybe things will get better, so we can do a 3 o'clock or whatever. And I'm like, okay.
That sounds good. Yeah.
But still, did you view you obviously viewed our last presentation thing, right? So,
I did.
and what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it went really well. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I didn't know if there's one of those, if you're as hard on yourself as I am to myself, it's like, oh man, I could have done that better. Oh
Yeah, there's
shoot,
always that.
oh I forgot that, come on, yeah. And nobody
Yeah.
ever sees that because it's like you're criticizing yourself, so
Yeah,
that's good,
yeah,
so.
yeah. And then they wouldn't know about those things that we forgot. But if we wanted to include it, then they wouldn't know. But yeah. No, I thought it went really well.
Yeah, I think that's why the live stuff is a little bit better anyway. If you screw up, oh, okay, it's over, move along. So.
Yeah. It was good.
Right. So, new equipment?
New equipment.
Shall you start, or?
Sure. I don't have it right now with me, so no show and tell. But that's okay.
That's fine.
I got 2 things, and I think you'll be very excited about the first one. I was excited. I actually was able to find, and I don't know why I didn't look on Amazon first for this, because it seems obvious. However, I was able to find a rechargeable, plug-in, gridded laser pointer.
Wow.
So now we don't have to worry about batteries dying, and we can leave it all night. And I know we've had a little bit of luck with the gridded laser pointer, especially at Edinburgh a little bit, but now we don't have to worry about all those little beams dying, which is awesome. Very excited about that. We can just leave it plugged in all night. And then the next thing I got was another digital voice recorder, another DVR, but this one is pretty primo. It's a Zoom brand, and it's an H1N, and it has the 2 mics that kind of go like that.
Yeah.
On top. It's really, really cool, and I can't wait to try that. If anybody is looking for a really high-end, really nice DVR, the Zooms, they're a little expensive, but they're worth it. The sound quality is phenomenal on them. So.
Have you tried it out a little bit then?
I think when I first got it, I did. It's been a little while since I got it, but
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, it's it comes from all these different directions, and it's really sweet. So.
Yeah, that's the trick of it now seems almost to buy headphones that you can actually kind of match to the real sound, which is very, very interesting unto itself.
Very. If I could just hear that, as it's going, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, because it was even my first audio recorder, it just changes the pitch and everything so much that it's just what? And people are actually using these as, to capture audio. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's what sucked. And then I'm like, oh, these Sony ones, at least I play it back and it's my own voice versus, something too high or too low or tinny or this or that. It's like, what?
Yeah. Who let the chipmunk in here?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
because I know there was a time at Waverly, I'm like, oh my God, there's a whole voice here, and there's a whole voice, and I look back on the audio part of it, and it's a girl talking. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is, I got to get rid of this audio if she sounds that bad.
False
She,
positives.
yeah, she was talking to her boyfriend, so she was kind of whispering anyway, and I'm like, this is good, this is great. Yeah, so throw it out. Okay, next.
Yeah.
But it's good to have that I was able to shoot, that I was shooting video, that I could actually look and say, oh good, it's not her. If not, this would be I would turn it into somebody and say, oh my God, you believe this? There's actually talking to somebody. And then you'd feel really stupid. Okay, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have anything new?
I did pick up a few. That's funny you talked about laser grid because I ended up picking up one too.
Really?
Yeah, one you could stick on a little tripod. It's got a little flip switch to it, on and off, and I think it runs off of some batteries. It's supposed to run for 3 or 4 hours. It's it's better than what
we have.
have been using, exactly, so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, thank goodness for the Christmas sales, right? Or hey, we're taking
Yay.
20% off.
Yeah.
So then I end up like thinking, they still got that sale going on. So then I got a millimeter with all the tricks on it.
Oh.
Because I always wanted to get another REM pod,
Oh, yeah.
just because that one seemed to hit it off pretty good at Malvern with the captain up in the captain's room and
Yes.
just various places here and there. I'm like, God, it'd be nice to have one, but they're running like, $180 or something.
Yikes.
Exactly. So then they had one that was with the millimeter, the temperature and this, and with it on there. So it's like at 180 to itself. It's like, okay, so that's what I would have spent anyway. And the
Yeah.
the other millimeter I would have had, the basic plain Jane whatever, I can just get rid of now. So just have the one good one,
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, if we're looking to get rid of that, I'd be interested in buying that from you.
Yay!
Oh,
Plus,
yeah.
plus I end up going with the flare.
Oh, yeah.
The screen one, which is weird because on their website they sell it. They say that it's run by Sleek. The what the apparatus, the one that does the imager.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And which is strange. I'm like, okay, I got it. Okay, here's the tablet. Okay, it's set up like it is, and I'm like, but it's a FLIR. And I'm like, whoa, that's a little more expensive than a Sleek.
Yeah, yeah.
But attaches everything and does that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Cool.
So it's good. It records. It does sound. It does everything. So,
Good.
that's one of those I wanted to complete. This is everything I want. And hopefully they don't build anything more that I want.
Yeah, yeah.
One of those
How-
type,
Battery life on that, for that FLIR. Because mine, I have one that plugs into the bottom of my phone too, and it's
You're
like
right.
it drains in like 10 minutes. I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah. So it's just one of those. I charged it up. It's like, yep, it works, but we'll
Yeah.
end up seeing in real time soon. So it's like one of those. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They are nice though.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. Because I knew you had problems with that. That's why I'm like, oh, maybe the Sleek will be different. And turns out to be the exact same flare you have. And I'm like, I guess you can't really complain for the money wise of it, So it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
One of those type. And I did have one more thing, but the guy is so back ordered that
Oh, no.
I was hoping it would be like by now, but I don't even think he's even thinking about doing stuff because so many people are ticked off at him.
Oh, no.
It's like, how could you, keep taking orders and like not doing this stuff? And this is something I ordered right after Christmas.
Oh, no.
And it's one of those, I got an email like a month or so ago. It's like, if you really want your money back, I'll give it to you. But if not, I'll put you in the pool of, things to build later on down the line because he does everything himself, by himself.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
something, so cheap that, it's like, how could you almost turn it down type thing.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those, he won't let anybody else do this stuff because he wants, if it has my name on it, I want to make sure I did it and it works right the way it should work and da-da-da-da-da. But it's like,
Yeah.
probably when he's got an order of like 300 things or something, it's like, what am I going to do?
Wow.
Who knows? I don't even know. I'm just kind of guessing just from the way that, I don't even think, I'm the first in line as far as that goes. There's probably
Wow.
people
Took it
6
a
months
while.
out. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, man, this would be great for Valesky Campbell. And it's like, oh, sorry, everybody. I'm like, oh, okay, just kind of, okay, let's move on. Right? But
Yeah.
it's going to be fantastic when it actually does come, hopefully. So, please. Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Exactly.
So what does it do?
It's a Poltercom.
Poltercom.
Poltercom. What it does, it's it's the box. A lot of the Ghost Adventures use it now
Okay.
on their thing. It's a variation of that. It looks like a little regular box, but it sweeps the white noise, and it has a random a random motor in there that goes back, forward, back. It just, wherever it stops, and it's just, there's no static whatsoever. It's just voices.
Oh, cool.
Just voices all the time, you know.
Nice, that's cool.
So yeah, that'll be real interesting. So
Yeah, that sounds like it.
plus then, you know, I got other little, like, you know, I'm ordering the lights that like you got, you know, the,
Mm-hmm.
so you
Yeah,
know,
the IR lights.
right,
Yeah.
so you know, cables for that and this, you know, just to be all square and all set up and stuff, so.
Yeah, we're gonna need to get a new case.
Well, I did end up getting like a 2 suitcase thing.
Oh, good.
So, you know, hopefully this will fit there and that'll fit there, and hopefully, you know, everything will be a little bit better, because I love the case, the big case and everything, it makes sense or whatever, but 3 flights of stairs just,
Yeah.
a little bit easier with a 26-inch upright or something for some feet.
Yeah, plus that one isn't the most durable. I figured it would be, but
Yeah.
it's not. So.
And plus, you know, the way we pack, you know, see if we can get this 400 pounds of equipment in here and try and carry it.
Exactly. It's like the muscles that I've, you know, gained from carrying all my equipment. Bodybuilder.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what did you think of last year? You know, when we had the Ashmore, we talked about that. That was totally amazing to me from what you had said about that, having really no clue of what was going on. That was kind of interesting.
No.
And then we
yeah.
had Malvern, which was something you look forward to and kind of was interesting.
Yes.
And
Then Squirrel Cage.
then Squirrel Cage, yeah. And that's weird, you know, I was thinking about that as far as presentations, we never cover the back end of Edinburgh, that we ever go out there in November. We never include that in a presentation because we've always done one in May or something and always shown something from then, so that's kind of
That's true.
strange unto itself.
Yeah. No, I thought last year was awesome. It was so weird to me that that I still can't remember much of Ashmore. I mean, like, you know, I remember only a few things from that. The only things I remember from that whole night were, I could probably name on one hand. And it's probably only because I have video of it or pictures of it,
Right,
but downstairs where that, like, boiler room kind of thing was, there was like that little weird room, it had like the pillar kind of thing in the middle of it.
yeah,
I remember that room, and I think I remember that because when I was going through footage, I remember something about like you feeling like you got touched or something on your back or on your leg or something like
oh
that.
yes, the boiler room, yes.
Yeah, down there. And then I remember all the dead birds on the floor, and I remember that mural with that someone made or painted on the wall with the old man and the little girl.
Yep,
And then that might be it. That's it.
wow,
That's all I remember. Oh wait, there was one more, like a nurse's station.
yeah.
But that's honestly, I can remember that there was a nurse's station there, but that's all I remember
Right.
from that whole night.
Because that's funny that you mentioned that situation that, you know, you don't really remember anything. That made me think back to like when we went to Villisca the first time. Because, you know, we brought in our prop stuff, you know, the picture of the president, and time music, and
Yeah.
did this, and we ended up doing I went back and listened to the radio session, you know, where we did the question and answer from the radio. I can't think of what the hell that is now. That's bad.
Yeah. I'm trying to think too, but
Yeah, shack hack, you know, that's all the first thing comes into my mind. But that ain't
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And to me, it seemed like right at that point, I think that's when I started losing it. Because I remember, because I played that one clip for you, I said I was just rambling on about something because I think we had the K2 meter go off. you're like, hey, the K2 meter went off. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, that's a good thing. And going through this whole spiel, and I remember afterwards saying, I don't even know where that came from. I was just like, just spitting up stuff. And from basically that point on, I really don't remember anything we ever did. Because I think I was falling asleep all over the place. In every chair and whatever around. I remember doing one SLS session. I think it came back on my thing at about 11 o'clock. But as far as between from midnight to about 6 a.m., I don't remember anything.
Oh, wow. So I wonder, that place must have that kind of energy that, you know, people just lose, not, don't want to say lose their mind, but
Yeah.
but they lose their sense of memory or their sense of where they are. I don't know, but that place, yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to go back. I just don't remember much at all.
Yeah.
So.
I suppose being a little more guarded would help. I mean, it sounded like something wanted to happen to you, but you wouldn't let it because of the way your back was feeling and you were doing, and you were on such high guard. That was probably a good thing. And I don't know. You know, I even hate to say it, it almost felt like, you know, my soul just left the body and just left me just as a lump somewhere until we went outside and I was fine, you know. It's kind of like, hey, let's take a break and go get some chips. And okay. Then I'm like, yeah, I remember that kind of stuff, going upstairs, you know, and looking at the VCR and that, but going back in, forget it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like once you cross that door, it's like it's just all gone, and it's just, what?
Yeah, like that's how Ballistic kind of was, for me, anyway.
Yeah. So, you know, by the time 7 o'clock comes around and it's morning out or whatever, I'll take one SLS round, and I remember that. So that was really strange, but...
That was at Ashmore, you mean?
No, I was just comparing your Ashmore to my Villisca type thing.
Oh, I gotcha.
How, like, it's like, wow, I guess thinking on it, you know, that's what happened to me too, type thing, you know, that I just didn't know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I don't even know if that even happens to anybody else or not, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, I mean, I even brought that up to the Ashmore guy, the owner, Rob, I think his name's Rob. It's like, gee, I never heard anybody having that before or whatever. And I'm like, well, I'm just telling you what we experienced. That's why I hate, you know, there's no reference, there's no data bank out there, no whatever. I'm like, yeah, in Malvern, you know, you read the things from, you know, hey, the Acme group is here, whatever, and we were scared to go up in there, and that's it. But there's no database like, hey, you know, we had that sound too. That's funny that something happened there.
Yeah, like you could go and see, okay, this group experienced this at this time, and then this group experienced this at this time, and this place, and yada yada.
So I guess it's kind of nice, like in that respect, but it's just, I don't know if these people ever put their stuff up on a website or whatever. I mean, there's no really place to go type thing, you know. Because the podcast guy that I listened to, you know, he had a guy named O'Keefe on there, Kieran O'Keefe. He was with the My Haunting, you know, Yvette and all them across the pond, you know.
Okay,
you remember her? He's with that group, you know, and he was talking to Chris Fleming about it. You know, it's like he's wondering if groups like us or around that are invited in by the public, if they're actually doing more harm than good, you know, because they're actually, we want you to come investigate, but are you just like, hey, we got what we wanted and we left, you know, without actually like helping them or showing them or anything like that.
Yeah, not to mention groups that I'm not saying every group would do this, but groups come in, they stir stuff up, you know, and then they leave. So then like the next group comes in and something happens, or maybe something terrible happens, and then, you know, the previous group stirred all that up, and now it's like, oh my gosh, now these other groups are experiencing these things that could potentially be not good or harmful, and so that I could see how that could be an issue too.
Right. Because it's funny, you know, what was it, the last two times that people said they left really quick, like Malvern,
Yes.
People are there for only, what, 4 hours, and that's it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and we keep thinking, man, this is going to be a good night. Yeah. You
Yeah,
know, and
I know.
see-
Like, sweet.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh, why are these people doing that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just strange unto it.
Yeah.
But I wish, there were like some type of protocol. That's what made me started thinking about, if these people, I don't know if there was a governing group, and I don't know if the people that we know, and I guess you could say we pretty much well trust them, as far as like Grant and Jason and
Oh, yeah.
maybe even whoever is, the people that supposedly look up to, I guess. I mean, enough to get us in there to get us interested. That I don't know if that's a thing to where they should be kind of a governing group or something, or seems like there should be something more. And plus, Chris talked about like all these great EVPs that he's gotten from different places, that there's really no library of them.
There should be.
And I'm like, that'd be great too, like per se, if Chris was like the head of like a Midwest group or something of like, paranormal research or whatever the case may be, but to where we could take, the Malvern clip and say, hey, Chris, what do you think of this? Like, hey, that's good, let me put this in the library and put the date down, so if anybody ever else hears that voice, they might know it's Gracie, or where you were at, to see if they could get a response like that.
Yeah.
To at least to where somebody might want to go there just for that, experience.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the paranormal, you never know what's going to happen. So, like, post this, and then someone else could come and they could get something exactly like that or totally different, and it's like, holy cow, well, I got this. And it's just, It would be really nice to just have somewhere to go where, you do have a place to listen to evidence that other groups have gotten.
Yeah, and even some type of a guidance, because we don't have any, what if we were to run across some type of evil entity? We don't have any idea really where to go, or I mean, we have, let's call her, I guess maybe, hopefully she'll know, but there's no structure to the system at all. It's like, I remember learning about it back in the day, and I'm like, who do we get, there's no one thing to say, okay, you're a certified ghost hunter, and it's like, nope, you just do it, and hopefully you do it respectfully, but it's just, there's no really classification for it, I don't know, way of really doing it right, which is kind of sad in some respects. I suppose if it wasn't for Dave at the Shadowlands, or whatever, that put out his list, which, I went by back in the early day. I don't think there's anything else out there, really.
Yeah, Dave Giuliano did a fantastic job with Shadowlands.net, and that was where I started too. And I spent, way back in the day, I probably spent hours a day on that site reading through everything, and like just trying to figure out how to do things. And I mean, that's just it. There really isn't a governing body per se to all of them. And there really should be, I think, in a way, just because you are dealing with things that like can potentially hurt you, can potentially hurt other people. So I really do think there needs to be some kind of structure that people can follow, but there really isn't just, take a flashlight and a camera and your phone or whatever and just go out and do all these things. And it's like, hold on, like, you really have to be careful. You really have to read up on these things. You cannot just go into this willy-nilly and hoping that, you're going to score something, because you are kind of dealing with things that you don't understand. Even myself, I know. I'm going into things and I'm going into places and I realize there's things that I don't understand. There's so many things we don't understand. So it really would be nice to kind of have, I'm not saying like a governing body, but you know what I mean? Like just something that you can maybe do like a class or have somebody be like, okay, now you're certified, you're a professional, whatever, and pass a test or do a class or whatever. I think that would be super helpful.
Yeah, and then at least you would be if somebody were looking for some help, they would say, hey, your group, oh, it's certified by the Paranormal Association or something. You know, but I hate to see people do offer classes out there, and I'm afraid like how much, you know, these people might be taking from them just to like say, hey, yep, you passed whatever class, you know, you're certified, but I'm
Yeah.
certified by, you know, is it worth anything?
Right.
And it's like,
who's
yeah.
looking at that? Like, who's gonna accept that?
Right. It's probably interesting, and it's probably nice to have a piece of paper or whatever, but it just doesn't look
Doesn't mean
good.
anything. Really.
Yeah, no, and it just seems like we all look up to somebody, but I don't even know how you could get everybody even together on board for something like that, but it just seems like there needs to be something like that.
I agree.
And it'd be interesting to talk to some of these well-known people. I don't even know if it's even possible, you know, to even like go to Grant saying, or Jason to say, yeah, you know, people really look up to you. What about, you ever thought about doing this? You know,
Yeah.
at least. And I'm sure, you know, he's got his own little group or whatever, but let's make it bigger, you know, type thing.
Yeah, yeah. Or if he can't do it, then maybe he knows somebody that could take that over, kind of
Right.
thing.
But I think it would be just nice if everybody got together on it. You know, not like this guy versus that guy
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever. And I don't even know if they all agree on what different things are, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's just it, because it's like, you know, nobody is technically an expert on any of this. We're all just doing what we think will yield the most results, either scientifically or however. And that's just it. It's not normal. None of this is technically normal. I mean, that's why it's called the paranormal. Otherwise, if there were
Yeah.
experts that knew exactly what all of this was, then it would be normal.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion. But, so I do think we need to collaborate more. I do think, and there, unfortunately, with the, you know, the ghost hunting community, I do think there is a lot of us versus them. And we do need to have it be more like, we all need to get together and be like, look, we're all on the same side, guys, you know? We're all trying to find the same stuff. We're all trying to find evidence. We're all trying to make this be the best it can. And so if we can all get together and be like, this is what we found, you know, we can only better ourselves that way.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember I did watch an episode of Kindred Spirits to where they went to the Villisca one, because I'm trying to bone up on the Villisca stuff through YouTube and all that stuff. And the guy that actually got him out there, he's like, well, you know, I'm never going to go back into that house and whatever the case. But he's like, the Kindred Spirits people, it's like, I think this would be beneficial if you were to come back into this house and kind of make your peace. And you know, he looked up to them. He's like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this type thing, you know. So these, you know, these people are looking up to them, and they're kind of going by their expertise. And it's like, you know, they wouldn't be throwing me to the lions or whatever, you know. So he ended up doing that. So it's kind of interesting that he was able to go and you know, kind of face his demons, I guess you could say, or whatever, in that house. Because I don't know if you ever watched that particular episode or not.
I haven't, no.
It was like in their first season, like within the first couple or whatever. And it's funny, they go in there the very first night or whatever, and they don't experience nothing. I mean, there's like not a whisper, not a whatever. Kind of like us to some extent, because I think there's something, you know, I think we expected, you know, some type of poltergeist thing to happen, you know, with something clapping or something rolling on the floor or something, you know, but it's just like, okay, this is a nice quiet house. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit, you know, when we went to Villisca, I didn't know anything about it, you know, didn't see the movies, didn't whatever. Saw the one Ghost Adventures thing of it, and I don't know what you can really get out of that as far as, you know, this is, you know, who was there and who got killed, and okay.
Yeah, yeah, and all the mystery behind it and everything. But yeah, that, I didn't know what to expect when we went there, to be honest. I was like, this is one of the most haunted places in the country, from what I understand. And I'm like, all right, well, you just kind of expect something.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so it's like, I mean, it's eerie, I mean, you're in an extremely old house that's rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the country. So, I mean, like, my guard's up, like, right away. You know, you walk in and you're like, all right, what's going to happen? You know, like, you just expect something, at least for me, like, right away. Like, okay, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to get hit in the face. Or, you know, like, something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And so, like, the whole night, you know, I'm just, like, kind of waiting, like, okay, you're just waiting for, like, that next thing to happen. And then, you know, like, there were some weird things. You know, your energy got drained a lot that night. You know, you were just exhausted. You were so tired. And, yeah, I mean, they really drained you of energy badly. And I felt that way too, but what's that?
Well, I've decided maybe that's where you can experience something. If they're taking everything from me, then you're bound to see something good, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, for God's sake, it's like you know, you were just so tired. And I remember thinking, and I almost wonder, in a way, if that wasn't some kind of tactic by them to make me feel more vulnerable. Because I remember thinking, you know, like, when you were falling asleep on the bed upstairs, I remember being like, oh no, this isn't happening. I'm not going to be in here all alone by myself. You know, like, and then all of a sudden, like, it started to get, like, my fear started to get worse. And it's like, I almost wonder if they did kind of play with you to make me feel worse. And so there's that too. But, I mean, not everything, but a lot of what we experienced happened, like, actual evidence to me, right when we were getting ready to leave.
yeah.
So it was like, you know, all of that happened. It's like, well, and that's just it. It's like, I had all my stuff packed up. I'm just sitting in the kitchen waiting for, you know, you to be done upstairs. And then it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Like, all of this is happening now. And I don't have my camera out. Of course I don't have my camera out, you know, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Isn't that the way it always goes, right? Yeah.
I know, yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's strange that it would do that to me, and that it was trying to get to you, or at least have a response in that respect. But it just seemed, I wonder how much this is kind of built into our mind, kind of going into it, you know?
Right.
Maybe that's why some people don't want to hear what has happened. I don't know why, to some extent, but maybe just that, hey, we're not going to go up by that attic because that's where somebody was supposedly supposed to be. You know, we found 2 cigarettes there, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it is better, I think, not knowing a lot going in. Because I do think there's some, you know, like maybe some prejudices as far as, like, oh, well, I know. And then, like, you know, you get that in your mind. You're walking by there. I saw something because someone else did. You know, it's always in the back of your mind. You know, like, someone else saw something there, so I just did too. It's like, no, not necessarily, you know, so.
Right. And it seems like, I think maybe an episode of Johnny that I saw, and other little, I think maybe Kindred Spirits was like they do, but they'd hear like a creak. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, oh my God, you know. And to me, that's almost like not doing anything for me anymore. It's an old house. The wind could have blown and done something, and unless it's something really deliberate.
Right.
And of course, we can say that too, you know, because it's like we see that on TV, and it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of hear it. But when I was doing that SLS and I heard that creak on the stair, and you can hear it in the video, that's a creak on the stair. You know, there wasn't any wind blowing or whatever, and it just so happens I had the camera pointed in the right spot that you saw something come into view and dart right out away, which was strange because looking at that time code, it would have been about 6 to 7 in the morning, and supposedly that's when they found these people or came into the house at about 7 in the morning.
Okay.
So I don't know the time we were doing it, between 7:30 in the morning, if something kind of scared something up and
maybe
dashed something out of there and ran back up. It's just strange. I'm like, holy crap.
Maybe.
The time of it kind of matches what we were doing, so, you know, because I know we had to leave by 8:30 or whatever.
Yeah, and it could be almost a residual kind of thing too.
Right.
If if there's something happening where they found him that right then, that energy could still be manifesting itself. So I guess there is a possibility of that too.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to see if there's more activity, because I guess the Dead Files lady said it's like, they're all still here, they're all still here. It's like, okay, they're all still there, but I was wondering if there's some way of, I don't know if anybody's tried documenting, like, the mom is more prevalent than whoever, and they always talked about one of the girls downstairs, the visiting girls, one of them is really more active than the other, and it's like,
Yeah.
and do we even hear anything about the father at all? I don't even know if,
Yeah.
if there's in Conda's voice or anything, it's just, it'd be interesting to see if there's one more active than the other, and I think that's kind of what Johnny does, I think, to some extent, or is trying to figure out. I don't even know if he's doing that anymore, but
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. You never hear the father, and I apologize, I cannot think of his name right now, but yeah, you don't really hear of him doing anything. You don't really hear him with like EVPs or like someone hearing like his voice. It's always and it's her, one of the girls, and I'm truly drawing a blank, unfortunately, right now with these names, and but she is known to play pranks on people and growl and do all of this stuff. But yeah, you never hear of the father at all, and some of times I think you hear of the mom.
yeah.
But the father you never hear.
I wonder what they do here of Sarah, though. You always just, I think it was that particular episode, they were concentrating more on Johnny's house next door to where they saw Sarah over there, but I'm assuming she's probably still in the house too, but I don't know what extent. Is there something evil enough there that's keeping them all kind of quiet? I think that's what we kind of always thought about Edinburgh in some respects too, because we always think that there's some mastermind and nobody is really saying anything. I mean, I think that first night we actually went there with Laura was like, it was just totally incredible. This is our first time out and whatever. And I hate to say it, I think Laura is a little bit of a magnet unto herself, to where I think something draws to her. But there was just like some of these voices, where are they coming from type thing.
Yeah. And that was, with Laura there, that was the first time in my life that I know of, that I can remember, that I had ever heard a ghost speak to me. So that was truly phenomenal. And then that was when she was there. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe she is. Some people, I think, are more magnets for that kind of thing, and some people aren't, and I don't know what that would be, if it has to do with like their energy and their aura, their soul, I don't know, but
Right.
Yeah, some people are more than others for sure.
Yeah. So do you kind of have a game plan for Valeska at all, or I don't know if you've been researching it a bit or not, or?
Well, not hugely. Not necessarily a game plan per se. I just now that I know, now that I have one trip there under my belt, I kind of know where to maybe put more cameras or, set up more equipment, different equipment in maybe a different place than before. We'll give that a shot. But
Yeah, that's why I like going back a second time, because first time you're just walking into, you have no idea what's going on.
mm-hmm.
Then it's like, God, I wish I would have done that, or, oh, I wish I had done that, or I heard a voice there, maybe if I go back to there and explore that a little bit more. That's kind of like the squirrel cage, it's like, in that shower, I could never get any video in that shower. I would love to explore that more, or at least stick a camera somewhere just far enough out to where it could possibly get something in view or not? I don't know, but
Yeah.
that just is intriguing me now, knowing that it's like, wow, really?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and that was your SLS, you couldn't get anything in there.
Right, yeah.
Stuff off, yeah. Yeah, that was so weird.
And I didn't
Yeah.
know if you had a game plan for that either, or
I don't know, I obviously gotta make sure my paranormal puck is charged and ready to go. So hopefully I can connect with Sam again, I don't know, but definitely upstairs, I'd like to maybe spend a little bit more time upstairs, I think, and hopefully the air conditioner works this time. Either that or it's not as hot, but yeah. So upstairs probably, and then, well, that's just it. Like, I didn't really feel a whole lot from that one guy's cell.
yeah,
I really didn't feel much from there. It was on the other side when I think I first spoke with Sam, was over there. So, I mean,
and of course Sam being right the guy you found out was a counterfeiter there that was in jail.
yep. I spoke with him on my paranormal puck for, gosh, I want to say it was at least a couple hours of him coming through on my paranormal puck. And, I know there's probably, some skeptics that are like, well, how do you know, The weird thing was I kept asking this entity on my puck, like, can you still prove that it's you? And he was a counterfeiter that, I found out, and money terms kept coming through. So, like, change or bill or cent, CENT kept coming through, and things like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm still speaking with this person, and so I don't know. There was just some weird, it was like a whole conversation for, like 2 or 3 hours. So I'm really hoping that if when we go back there, that I can, get that back and going again. And if not, that's fine. But I'd like to at least try.
Right. And I think that's probably the first time we've ever been on something to where it's kind of like, bye, see you later. I'm going to go do my thing and you do your thing. And,
Yeah.
usually we're just kind of move as a mass, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So that was kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
interesting. So, I mean, when I was doing my thing, I was kind of worried about you. It's kind of like, what's this thing doing? Is it dragging you into something? And I kind of better stay close by type thing, I'm like, that's weird, because it's just, there were certain pockets in there like that shower area and
Mhm.
that other little, maybe, I think it was called the juvenile area, where things felt a little bit off, but then the camera didn't like recording either type thing, and it just seems like, those type of areas are like, wait a minute, I don't think you should really be here, so just kind of back off a little bit or something. So it's just like,
Yeah.
but it intrigues you more,
Yeah,
So
definitely, definitely.
what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. And, like there was, where during my puck thing, he mentioned, he's like, bathroom. And I'm like, bathroom? I'm like, Sam, you want to go upstairs and to the bathroom? And then it was, it kept saying like bathtub. And it kept mentioning things in the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, I guess we'll go up to the bathroom. And so, like then he started talking about like his kids and like his wife and all of this stuff. And it was just like, whoa, I don't know. It was just, but I'm telling, like, I got really skeptical too. And I got really nervous, like, who's to say that, like, they're not trying to take me away from you, like, and have me go off on my own and then something happens or, like, so I was really worried about that too. So I'm like, all right, I was a little cautious. I'm like, I guess I'll go up to the bathroom and see. But it was fine, thankfully, but still I'm like, okay, I don't want some weird or dark entity or something trying to trick me and then I leave your side or I leave where you are and then leave, something bad happens.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's like, to me, that place had so much. It was well lit, just from lights and whatever. It just seemed. Once you got over that, it's like, oh my God, it's a jail. Like all these people, and you've always heard that about every jail and on TV, Western Penitentiary, and this, and all always being bad and this, and they portrayed it more as kind of a nice jail to where, you know, this guy, you know, stole an apple, you know, so we had to put him in here. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's real, you know, axe murder things or something. Then I
Yeah.
think if it wasn't for, you know, that Birdman, you know, that if he wouldn't have been related to any other murders or whatever, I don't think that jail probably would have as many people going through there as it probably does. But,
Yeah.
it just seemed
Yeah.
too almost well, like I said, too well lit to be like scary in some respects. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like Edinburgh to some extent. You know, you go downstairs, that's dark, and you're like, holy crap! I'm not
Yeah.
going to go down there. I'm going to stay up here where there's, you know, some light flooding in once in a while. You know?
Yeah, the basement in Edinburgh is really unsettling. But as far as Squirrel Cage, like, that's the thing with that place. It's like, you know, Sam was a counterfeiter. It's not like the people that were in there were like, yeah, these axe murderers or these really high profile, like, violent criminals. They were just people that maybe got drunk one night and then, you know, had to sleep it off or, you know, something like that. There was like a more peaceful, a very nice feeling, if there could ever be a good feeling to a jail. That one definitely is more that for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like a Mayberry type thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hey, you know, and it was small too, you know, it's not like a huge,
Yeah.
you know, western state where it's going over, you know, miles or something.
Yeah, for
So-
sure. And I mean, really when we first started after we went through, obviously there was something there that got to me, because, you know, I got extremely emotional and I couldn't stop and I didn't know why, and I don't get like that on investigations, and so there was something there that was playing with my empathy, and, you know, I went outside and it was better, and then I came back in and I could feel it a little bit more, but it's like it did go away after a little bit, but that was so weird. It really was. It was.
Yeah.
It was strange.
Exactly. So hopefully the next, you know, little addition to this, it's not really a podcast, but whatever you'd want to call it, we can do some clips on the road and some at the Velisca house and that, and maybe if anybody has a comment about this video or something we can try. I mean, you know, we're still weeks out from when we're going or something, or
Mm-hmm.
if somebody has a comment, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, for
To,
sure. Anybody wants to comment, you know, give us maybe some tips or, you know, any comments, of course, are always welcome, for sure. So.
And plus, you know, I got a few little prop things again. You always got to have props.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. So it'd be interesting to try little experiments and whatnot. So,
Yeah, definitely.
well, that'll end our time here today, and next time we'll be on the road, so to
Yeah.
say. All right,
Velisca, yeah, Squirrel Cage.
perfect, bingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Till next time, Jen.
Till next time, Greg.
Yay!
Yay!